Live from tape, pre-recorded at our studios in Austin, Texas and Portland, Oregon, it's Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. Hey everyone, I am the Ben of that.
And I am the Lesley. This is a twice-monthly podcast about television, genre, and storytelling in which we watch an episode of a show and explore the history of television one episode at a time.
Today, of course, we are joined by a special guest, returning guest, and of course, editor of this very show, Jay Gagnon. Jay, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. I would like to say this is my staff pick, as it were. Since I'm on
our staff, that's true.
The back end staff.
You are staff, and this is your pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jay obviously works very tirelessly behind the scenes to edit the show and also make our incredible marketing material, and we are deeply appreciative of that. So yeah, this is indeed your staff pick.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you're just now joining us, we're talking about Murder, She Wrote, the long-running CBS crime drama about crime novelist Jessica Fletcher, whose curious mind and sleuth skills put her in the middle of many a real-life murder mystery in the town of Cabot Cove, Maine. The show ran from 1984 to 1996 for 12 seasons, for a grand total of 264 episodes. After the show's completion, the Murder, She Wrote brand lived on in television movies, video games, novels, and an abandoned reboot starring Octavia Spencer.
Angela Lansbury plays Jessica Fletcher, the series protagonist and the only consistent cast member of Murder, She Wrote. Lansbury has a storied career in film and television, including starring in the original Gaslight movie, as well as The Manchurian Candidate, and as a voice of Mrs. Potts in Beauty and the Beast. She was the first person to play Ms. Lovett in Sweeney Todd on Broadway.
Imagine having a career that's just all of filmed entertainment.
Yeah.
From because my God, when did Gaslight?
It's very old.
Yeah.
It's incredibly old.
Yeah. 1944, and that wasn't even her first movie.
It was 44.
Up until Glass Onion last year.
Oh, she was in that.
Yeah, she cameoed with Sondheim.
Oh, R.I.P.
No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God. Look, this is your pick.
I should have known
I'm
everything
just
she's
saying.
ever been in and watched it before we sat down to talk today.
Right?
I have distinct memories of watching the VHS for Beauty and the Beast for one of those behind the scenes, little vignettes or whatever, where they're showing how it got made or whatever. It's and featuring Angela Lansbury as Mrs. Potts.
Mrs. Potts. Oh, yeah.
And it's her in front of her. It's her in front of her mic setup doing the full blown
right.
If this soup should
turn
want
smile
tea, heaven's sakes, that's fine with me, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first exposure to her way back in the day.
It's wild. I remember this show. I remember Murder, She Wrote. I feel like I never watched it myself, and I'm not sure why. But I do remember it from my childhood. Anyway, we'll get into that.
It's very much one of those fabric of the background TV kind of fabric of the.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say here.
It was always on.
Yeah. It's like Matlock.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a staple. There we go, a staple.
It's a staple.
The title character of this episode, Preston Giles, is portrayed by Canadian actor Arthur Hill. Preston is fresh out of prison, but is rightfully hesitant about working for the Sutton Place Publishing again, and is even more hesitant about seeing Jessica Fletcher again. Arthur Hill has appeared in such television shows as Columbo and the original Mission Impossible television show.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Not the Tom Cruise one, the original.
The original one. Yeah, all right.
Of which I have seen exactly one episode.
All right, then. Lois Childs plays Millie Stafford, wife to investment banker Kendall Stafford, and this episode's murderer. Millie is mixed up in a blackmail scheme that could implicate her unfaithful husband. As awful as he is, she's willing to kill to save their marriage. Childs played the Bond girl, Dr. Holly Goodhead, in the James Bond movie Moonraker, and Lynette Ridgway Doyle in the 1978 adaptation of Death on the Nile, which she did alongside Lansbury.
Small world.
Small world.
People
Small Hollywood.
for people who make murder mystery television. My boy, Michael McKean, he's Ross McKay.
Yeah!
A new partner at Fletcher's former publisher, who is dead set on returning the company to its former glory. He insists the path to their success involves recruiting back old talent, including convicted murderer Preston Giles and author Jessica Fletcher. Michael McKean was covered earlier this season as Chuck McGill on Better Call Saul. We talk about him at length in there, but SNL, Best in Show, all that jazz. You know how to find him. A Mighty Wind.
All that good stuff, yeah. Oh yeah, Mighty Wind. All that good stuff. We've definitely.
I need to watch A Mighty Wind again. That one's fun.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Those Christopher Guest movies, I think I like a solid half of them, and that is definitely one of the ones I like.
They're a good old time.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Sussman plays Detective Jack Slocum, a New York detective who is Fletcher's police contact for this case. Slocum is fighting off allergies and Fletcher's interference and is quick to pin this whole murder on Preston Giles and be done with it. Sussman appeared in MASH as the PA radio announcer and in shows as recent and high profile as Orange is the New Black.
Also quite a career.
Yeah. All these legacy people, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something I want to get into in just a second as we continue on with the episode. It's just like, man, TV just used to be like randos.
Yeah.
No, there's a nicer way to say that, but there's like, an appreciation for the character actor.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, we're watching Season 7, Episode 7, The Return of Preston Giles. Jessica Fletcher's old publisher is undergoing a change in management and wants her back on the team. New executive Ross McKay insists he's offering her an incredible deal to woo her back into the fold as the premier author of their new brand. At the same time, McKay recruits incarcerated founder of the company, Preston Giles, freshly out on parole for a double homicide. When Fletcher and Giles reunite, their professional and personal feelings get mixed up in a blackmail plot that could dissolve a marriage and possibly Sutton Place Publishing.
Dun, dun, dun.
Jay, my dear good friend.
My dear pal Ben, what's up?
This is your staff. This is your staff pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
I know why you picked this episode, but obviously I'll ask you to tell the audience. But why Murder, She Wrote?
Well, Murder, She Wrote is because in the last while now, I have started taking care of my grandmother and moved in with her, and she's a big crime television show nuthead, I guess, but she really likes like Rizzoli and Isles and 911 and Law and Order and NCIS and CSI and CSI Miami. So we've watched a lot of shows that it would fall into the crime category. So when you initially, like months ago, were like, we're doing crime, I was like, well, believe it or not, most of my days are spent watching these different crime shows. But when you kind of talked a little bit more about it, and as I've been like listening along to your guys' episodes, I was like, most of the ones that we've watched wouldn't really fit into the category that you guys were kind of going after, not only just like crime mob bosses and that type of element, but not like these cop shows.
Right,
so
sure.
One thing I really liked about Murder, She Wrote, and I liked in this episode, is that it's not always like, oh my god, the cops are so smart and they know everything and they're gonna help the case get solved. A lot of times, like in this episode, they actually get in the way of things getting happening, because they just kind of dismiss Jessica, maybe because she's a woman, but also just because, oh, you're just a writer, you're just making things up, and like kind of try to just downplay what her ideas are, or like what she's kind of speculating about in the crime. Most episodes, I'd say, of the ones that I've seen. So I've actually seen a lot of episodes of Murder, She Wrote, and can kind of speak to how this episode is similar and different than a lot of those other ones. But I just adore Angela Lansbury. I think she's so talented, and especially in this role, it's just such a believable like character. Like I don't watch it and go, okay, this is just some cop TV show, whatever. It's so believable, and also just a lovely show overall, and has some really interesting like elements with crime. And one thing I was thinking about as to what this makes it different, that you guys had brought up in past episodes, was that you had kind of said, I hate the shows like CSI that are just like beep boop beep beep bop bop beep bop. Okay, the computer shows this, that, and this. It shows the fingerprint, and that makes this the murder. But what I love about this show is that you really can follow along the story, and you as the viewer can help determine who the murderer is. Like in this episode, I'm sure we'll get into it more, but like when there's like the scratches on his hand and there's these other elements that like the use of camera and story are directing you to can like help. This one kind of had a red herring a little bit, I guess, with the burglar, but can kind of help you get to the mystery of it all and the crime that's happening that you don't really see in a lot of modern day crime shows. So I think that's what makes this show so great and why I wanted to come on the show and talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked during the Columbo episode specifically about how we liked the lack of like forensic work. Instead, it's more of the puzzle of detective work.
Yeah.
Also, I have to say, I do love a good red herring. I think that there's a difference between a red herring, which is something that is just a natural part of mystery solving, and stuff like what, BBC Sherlock did, which is like, it's because I said so and I'm smart, fuck you. There's definitely a difference between the two, and I'm definitely a fan of a good red herring.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not it counts as valid really just comes down to the quality of writing now, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Jay, obviously I gotta ask, why this episode?
Well, I literally picked this episode because our favorite boy is in it. And literally for no other reason. I wish I could say it was like because it shows, so Preston Giles is actually in the pilot episode, which is a 2-parter pilot of Jessica, and I have actually seen it. So not a lot of times are they revisiting and rehashing old stories. So that was like, okay, that's kind of different about this one. And also, this is the only episode other than the 2-parter premiere that I've seen Jessica have like a love interest.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was really like, okay, that's really different because she's a widowed woman. And something I've actually liked about the show isn't about her like trying to find a man or trying to like, oh, maybe I'll love. Like, really, Preston is the only figure I've seen. I haven't seen every episode, so the commenters can back off if they're saying, oh, what about this episode? I haven't seen all of them, but from what I have seen, most of the episodes don't have her involved romantically any type of way. So that was a little bit different from this one, too. But I thought it was interesting because it kind of brought back people from Jessica's life in the past. And sometimes you'll see her nephew, and she has other family members that'll be like repeating characters. She isn't the only one. But I thought the episode was well written and well produced, but really it was because of our favorite boy, who, funny enough, when the episode started and he's like talking to his wife or whatever, I was like, you're straight? And I was like, wait, in Breaking Bad, in Better Call Saul, he's straight, but in my brain, because I had just watched Best in Show, I was like, he's straight? I was like almost taken aback for a second. I was like, wait, what's going on?
What is that about?
I was like, he's with that person? That doesn't seem right.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's so funny.
In real life, too.
Yeah.
Oh my God. He's
totally
too good
IRL.
of an actor.
I tell you.
Is it just because he's so good in Best in Show?
He's so good in Best in Show.
He's really good at Best in Show. To be fair. He's very good at Best. He's great at every. Listen.
There's nothing I've seen of him that he's.
We're just going to become a Michael Keane fan podcast at this point, to be honest. Like, get on board, beep beep. That's what's happening. Everything's fine.
Did you know, because I pulled up his Wikipedia page just now, that he co-wrote the song A Mighty Wind for the film A Mighty Wind?
No way.
Yeah, he did. He rips. I think he's so cool.
That is so awesome.
Anyway, folks, obviously, Jay and I are enormous fans of Better Call Saul, in which his performance is absolutely electric for the first couple of seasons. Just really phenomenal work. And guess what? He's good here, too.
Yeah. He sure is.
But yeah, Jay, you talked about the cast thing. And I think it's absolutely fascinating that this is such a long-lived show. 12 seasons, 264 episodes.
Yeah.
That is the definition of like hashtag syndicated TV. That doesn't lead anywhere. It is purely an anthology, right?
Yeah.
And also has basically one principal cast member.
Yes.
Nuts, huh?
That's
It is nuts. And I'll make a correction to what you said in your intro that I wouldn't really agree with, that you had said it's set in Cabot Cove. Most episodes are not. So most episodes, yeah. So like this episode was set, I don't know, city, New York, I don't know where they were. But most episodes are not. And part of like the interesting part about Jessica is she's always traveling. There are a handful of episodes that I can think of that are set in Cabot Cove, and there's like a police officer who is, I think he was the dad on Happy Days. He's in it, and so there was some reoccurring characters there where it's set in her home. But most of the episodes are set where she's traveling and she's doing different things. And that's kind of what makes it exciting as well to watch. Because you're like, oh, she's in this totally new setting, but always finds herself like wrapped up in this, scenario with these different characters. And as like an actor myself, I love that there are so many different parts that get played in this type of show, where it's like every episode there's all these different actors that come together and put the show on. I don't know. I always think that's really fun.
No, I do too. It really I mean, just because it's older television in general, there's something about it that feels very like theatrical, Yeah. Which is something I've said about
100%.
Which is something I've said about like news radio. I said I'm sure I said that about Columbo for sure. But anything that's in these like very obviously sets, that doesn't bother with the pretense of making it. I'm not going to say there's like a perfect switch that was like flipped in like 1999 or whatever, but
sure.
It's not trying for the realism. It's very much trying for sets. And there's a lot of television, obviously, from this era that falls into that. I was thinking of what to kind of compare this to, and obviously, like, no shit, Columbo. But in terms of just like how many episodes there are and how much I'm sure. Also with it not really leading anywhere necessarily and all that, it's hard for me to not think of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Okay.
In terms of like that is TV that can just be viewed in any order. There's no major plot continuity. You can like latch on to who you want. There are frequently episodes where like, oh, this is the one that guest stars blank blank. That kind of stuff, and I have a fondness for that level of TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a comfort and a familiarity in this era of television, right?
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
I do love prestige television a lot. Obviously, who doesn't? But there's just something to be said about like these comfort shows, that present themselves in ways that make you want to continue to engage with it week after week after week. This was obviously, before reality TV or whatever, did its thing. This was how comfort TV worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that's rad.
I got room in my heart for both, prestige TV shows with dedicated showrunners who go in there with a plan, a capital P plan, to tell a story over 4 seasons or whatever. But I also like, TV like this where it's a very much, it's like a guaranteed good thing as individual pieces.
Yeah,
as well.
Definitely.
And I think there's a lot of like artistic quality to it and the dramatics, but like in every element, not just in the writing, not just in the acting, but when I was on my third watch through of the episode that we watched, I was like, they're making stylized choices with lighting and camera direction as well that you wouldn't just normally see in most television shows.
Absolutely.
For film, yeah, but not in television. Like specifically at the part where they find the first guy that was murdered, they have this like shot of Preston in the glass, and you're looking at him through the glass, and then they pan over to him, and then he's sitting at the desk, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is just, there's so much you can pick on from that, and it's like, this is just one episode of a TV show. And so I feel like they bring so much artistic quality to it in so many levels that is what makes this a classic and makes it how it went on for so long.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
I completely agree. That actually, I'm glad you said that, because that definitely reminds me of Columbo in that way too. There's a lot of really, really cool direction that happens on that show as well, which I feel like I don't have to tell anybody here. But yeah, it's I think we all know that. We all know how great Columbo is. It's Columbo. But it definitely draws from that as well, those artistic shots. I remember, I think that was like the first thing I noticed, not to talk too much about Columbo, but that was one of the first things that I noticed about Columbo, and I think that that's something that I can appreciate with all of these older serials. It kind of makes me want to go back and like watch Matlock and Perry Mason to see like...
Yeah, do it.
Were they doing that back then and I just was too young and didn't know? Like, I'm curious.
Real quick, by the way, Jay, the actor you are thinking of is Tom Bosley, who plays Sheriff Amos Tupper in Murder, She Wrote, and was in fact the dad in Happy Days.
Yeah. Yes, he was. He was also he was also in one of these serials. It was called he played like a priest that also solved crimes. Maybe we should do that one.
Oh, did he now? The Father Dowling Mysteries.
That's the one. That's the one.
Oh, this title card is ancient.
Oh, yes. Sorry, not to derail. I just remember watching it at my grandma's house and like...
This is all within the boundaries, I think. The show features a Catholic priest, Father Dowling, who solves murders, abductions, and other mysteries in his Chicago parish, assisted by a young streetwise nun, Sister Stephanie.
Don't do that. Stop doing that. Stop doing that, Ben.
In spite of hindrance from the bishop's representative, Father Prestwick. Fucking Father Prestwick.
That fucking guy.
That guy.
God.
Any hoozle.
Yeah, no. What we were talking about before I pulled up that actor name. Yeah, there's a certain familiarity and like a guarantee of quality and all that. Lesley, you should absolutely watch Matlock and Perry Mason and report back, please.
I think I'm going to. I mean, like, I used to watch Matlock, like at my grandma's house when I was a kid, but it's been a hot minute.
Did we all watch Poker Face?
Yes.
No.
I really appreciated the episode in which it's like set in a retirement home and they show these series of older ladies who gather in the like common room to watch nothing but like this kind of like 70s, 80s, 90s serialized like murder mystery TV shows, and they all have their like legal pads and pens as they try to like, figure out what's happening and whatnot. I think that's really fun. For sure. I don't know. Yeah, it's a staple. It just feels like would it be silly if I said something like it feels like TV was always meant to have Murder, She Wrote?
No,
like it just
I don't think so at all. I mean, it's an iconic TV show. Yeah. Like, not at all. Mm-hmm.
Like if I were to maybe even define, I guess maybe the easy 80s TV show or whatever is just to say like Baywatch or whatever. But when I think 80s TV, I genuinely think Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
In the same way, I would absolutely say that about MASH in the 70s.
Oh yeah, true.
And Star Trek in the 60s. Let's keep going.
Let's just keep doing it.
Okay, so in the 50s. Oh.
I Love Lucy.
Oh my God, you're so right.
Precisely.
And 2023, no show that lasts more than one season.
Show that goes one season and then gets removed and blasted off the internet forever.
Forever, and you never get to see it ever again. Hope you liked it too. Like, sorry, it ain't for you.
I'm kidding. It's probably Squid Games.
Oh, did you like that? Too bad.
Bummer. Solidarity with the SAG-AFTRA.
Hate it for you.
WGA strikes. So obviously I know I said the thing about how you can have a show that lasts this long that isn't necessarily leading anywhere. There's no like grand payoff. There's no massive amounts of like character growth. Angela Lansbury doesn't have like a hurdle she's trying to get over that lasts more than a couple episodes or whatever, all that kind of stuff. But I also appreciate a show that overall has like enough, is able to retain enough audience interest, that they can do like, hey, you remember that guy from the pilot? We brought him back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I have never seen this show. I've just never watched it.
Sure.
But I did really appreciate, like, I felt invested. They did a great job making me feel like, oh, but there's feelings here, and like, oh, there's history, even though I have not actually seen it. So props to them for that. They did a great job with that.
The flashbacks were timely and worked well to help kind of set up the scene. And even though I had seen the pilot and was like, oh, is that guy? hadn't seen it in a while. And if you're watching, in this era, you might not have seen it in 7 seasons.
Right.
So,
Right.
helpful to kind of bring the audience back up to date on that.
Yeah. Like I said, they did a great job of it because I hadn't watched it and I was real into it. So there you go.
Yeah, especially at the time, there wasn't necessarily a guarantee of at home video releases or syndicated reruns or whatnot.
Right.
It is possible you did not see that episode for 7 years prior, but it's cool that they can either organically have that level of audience retention, or they can kind of artificially create it in the moment for people like us who are only just tuning in for this one. And I think they gave us like plenty of. It's nice, like what a strategic flashback can do to make us go like, oh, of course. How could they, oh, this must be such an emotional reunion for them. And they're like, how did I know that? I'm only just being told
because
that.
they told us. Yeah, but they did, like I said, great job. A+.
Yeah, I really couldn't agree more. I just think that's not something that is in the same way, again, that it takes a lot of like faith in a television show's concept. In the same way that it takes a lot of faith in a television show's concept to allow it to run this long without like a guaranteed conclusion and whatnot. It takes a lot of faith in your audience to like. I just don't see that happening as much, nowadays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying about also, like prestige television too. Like they tell a lot of really amazing stories. They absolutely do. I would go as far as to say that I think that sometimes the heart is not there now.
I'd agree.
On television, typically the way that it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
This is not an old man yells at cloud kind of situation.
No,
I'm not like saying that there isn't still.
It's okay if it is.
Plenty of merit. There's still plenty of merit in prestige television. I'm just saying that I think, you just have a little more heart. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, I think like, there's since there's such a large degree of planning that goes into those shows. I don't think there's like a pleasant surprise when they can get a guest actor back in the same way, because it's all very meticulously planned out and kind of has to be. Whereas, you can imagine these kind of coming up a little more organically, where they're like, hey, actually, I think we can weave back this character from 3 seasons ago back in.
Boy, and I gotta say, was not expecting McKean to be there. Didn't know he was going to be in this episode. Was incredibly pleased, super pleasantly surprised. Put in my notes just his name in all caps with an exclamation point. Just very excited about that. So that was, fun little surprise.
Yeah. He makes such a good 80s executive.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
especially with that hair.
Especially with that hair. Just, he is on the phone, making deals, circling back on meetings.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you let me deal with the paper suppliers, and you can worry about binding and printing, all right?
That was a good old time. That was a good old time.
I love later, too, when he's like, when whatever the wife is like, oh, they're playing whatever on the Hong Kong stock market. And he's like, we're too attractive to worry about that. I was like, that is so funny. That's like such an interesting little anecdote.
That's so hard. What a cold line. What a cold line.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I feel like it's not an exaggeration to say that, how do I put this? I think that, as you know, in the recent past, there's been quite an influx of interest in like true crime, right?
Yes. Yes, of course.
And I think that part of that interest originated with the fact that this show and shows like it made mystery comforting.
Yes.
In a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Just my opinion. Just my opinion.
I think there's definitely a spectrum of this kind of crime entertainment. I've seen a lot of people describe newer genres that like focus on kind of almost being conflict free as like wholesome or cozy mysteries or whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily like that descriptor. I understand it for video games. I understand like cozy video games like Stardew or whatever, where you're not like fighting anything necessarily.
Or like Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
Yeah, there we go. Your favorite. Yes, of course.
My favorite.
I understand it for gaming, but I don't always understand it when people are like, I just want like a cozy murder mystery. And I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead.
Cozy little horror.
Yeah.
I'm going to out myself here and admit that, like, yeah, I do that. Oh. I have this, there's this one guy, there's this one show in particular that's like my cozy, but don't worry about it too much. I don't, it's fine.
Okay, fair enough. I just don't.
You know what? I'll just go ahead and tell you. It's this guy. It's this show called Homicide Hunter, and it's like basically the reason why I like it is because it follows this one guy who is actually like on a homicide, and like he was a detective, and it's just telling all the shit that this guy specifically saw. And the stuff that he says and his turns of phrase are really fucked up and funny. That's it. Okay. But like the like weird like Dahmer TV shows and stuff, like I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't want to touch those, but I also don't want like conflict free.
I don't want to have anything to do with that.
It all works out in the end kind of writing either.
Right.
Well, that was something that was really interesting to me about this episode is a lot of them end with somewhat of an epilogue where Jessica's like, oh, well, that solves that, and, like, off to write my book, or whatever she says. Right. And that was so interesting about this, right when it was, like, she listened to the tape, his body's on the floor, and she's like... yeah. It was just, like, it was, like, freeze frame with credits. I was like, that's it?
I also found that unusual. I was like, are they going to wrap this up? And then I was like, that's it. I guess that's all we're doing.
I don't know if it was like a decision based on time because they fit so much into, the episode as it was, and they had to also include like backstory and stuff. But most of the episodes do not end that way. Most of the episodes will end with like her literally like leaving the location she's in. And she's like, well, I'm leaving the ski lodge, I'm off to whatever. And they're like, oh, thanks, Jessica. And then it'll end with a goofy like, aw, or whatever, something with a character, not this like heat of the moment, like the killer is finally found out, type of thing. There's usually at least some like pulling them away in handcuffs or something that you can see like, oh, okay, it's resolved. It's come to a close.
Do we think that the reason for that is that this was a returning character that like in that story ended and that we needed to feel like the impact of that?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Oh, was I the only one who was anticipating that Giles would get revived?
Yes. I was like, oh, he dead. Oh, he dead.
Yeah.
So, I was fully expecting, like, we can still save him. And he's like, thank you, Jessica, for all your work. I'm sorry I couldn't have been more help. Or something. No,
I was like,
maybe I was thinking that my first watch.
I didn't. So I'm the only one who didn't think that then.
Yeah.
I'm the only one who was like, oh, so this guy's dead then. Okay.
Well, I was like, oh, he can't die. They just finally, like, made amends and, like, everything else. And, he can't die. And then it was like,
yes,
oh, he's dead.
Yes, he can.
So I guess I was the same.
I thought it was great, though.
I did.
Did anybody predict the murderer? Did anyone I didn't predict it.
Man, this suffers from that trope of like, I recognize that guy. He did it. Like this suffers from that in that way. But of course, back then it wouldn't have because I think he wasn't as prolific, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I suspected, but solely because it was McKean.
Yeah.
Not for any narrative reason.
I also
you knew it was the wife.
Oh yeah, at the end, yeah. No, that I did not predict at all.
Okay, that's what I was asking, because I was like, did anybody predict it was the wife that had been doing the murders and like that?
No.
I didn't predict that at all. What was interesting is in most of the Jessica and this is another thing where I was talking about like the red herring, when like the attacker gets her and scratches the arm, but then they cut to like his face, I was like, oh, okay, like the audience knows who it is, but Jessica doesn't, and I don't feel like you usually would see this in the show because it's usually like we're solving it right along with Jessica of who's doing what. But in this instance, the audience is shown his face, and when his body turns up and the scratches on his hand, like we know it is him. So that was kind of an interesting element that I hadn't really seen in a lot of episodes of this.
Well, and that's another thing too, is, like when that got revealed, like everything was happening so fast, like I feel like we were brought into the feeling of urgency and confusion a little bit there. I feel like this show is just from a storytelling standpoint, from like a like telenovel standpoint, this show does it really well.
Yeah.
Like Ben, at the beginning you said that it's, like it reminds you of a play. It reminds me of like a telenovel, like a teleplay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think, which I love. I think that the artistry in it is fantastic. I can't wait to watch more.
Well, and I like that they like kind of set it up with the secretary. They add like where she's like, "Oh, I'm really really scared of stuff," and then that comes out later. Like they didn't. That was just a character element that didn't really like have to do with anything. And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's kind of interesting." But then later, it's like, "Oh, she's gonna testify against Preston, and that's what's keeping him in the prison," and that kind of adds interesting like elements that. It just makes it more realistic and like layered that you wouldn't see.
Yeah.
I feel like in a normal there it would just be like, oh, he's a convict, so he did it, you know. But I think that's what's so interesting about Jessica and her smarts is she's always like, well, like that was so long ago, or this or that, and she's always thinking of ways to kind of get out of these scenarios that is just makes her exceptional at what she does and allows her to like solve all of these mysteries that she just ends up a part of.
Yeah, well, she's a character writer.
I totally agree. Yeah, yeah.
I very much did appreciate how much work that this episode did to, again, because there's only one primary cast member, to give us a really solid foundation for who each of these people are. That there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters in this that are not. Oh, no, and 8, I guess, the detective. But the detective is not at all a suspect. But, both Ross McKay, Millie Stafford, the husband, the executive who does get the knife in the back. Preston himself, the secretary, etc. Like, it does a really good job of, like, putting together, like, a whole, Agatha Christie novel worth of, like, potential, your Mrs.
All these
Peacock
players.
And Colonel Mustard and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this feels like a quote unquote, like a more simple kind of show, because it's not as complicated or fraught, I guess. But I'm telling you, it's really elegant in the way that it's telling the story that it wants to tell. I just think it's so fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan now. I'd never watched it before. And now I'm like, oh man, this show's amazing. This is how I felt when I watched Columbo for the first time. This is exactly how I felt when I watched Columbo.
I was the same way. Funny enough, my grandmother was the same way. When we had like seen it, because we have cable. When we had seen it on cable, she's like, "Wow, what is that? I don't want to watch
Jessica.
that." And now we've watched it, and we call
Jessica.
it Jessica
That's really
in my
cute.
house. We don't call it Murder, She Wrote. We're watching Jessica. We're watching Jessica, and yeah, it's just the same. I had never seen it. Like, obviously heard about it in pop culture, but, like, never really knew what it was about. And it's so good, and it's made so well, and it is genuinely so entertaining.
It really,
and a great
really
show.
is. I completely agree. What were you going to say, Ben?
Oh, I was just going to say that I appreciate how much foundational work went into each of these characters, and that we get a good sense of like just a whole cast that has a lot of issues with each other. And there is genuinely a moment where it's like it kind of could be any one of them because they are all infighting. There's the whole blackmail thing. There's the whole bankruptcy and embezzling thing. There's like, I can't believe you put an incompetent like him as the VP of finance or whatever. Back and forth where like, no, these people do have like legit grievances with each other. And there's like a very, again, because these aren't really recurring characters with the exception of one, and 2, Preston Giles, they got to pack a lot in there. And I think they did so very effectively in such a short period of time, which is also something I think like Poker Face also does very, very well.
I would like to make an observation.
For obviously the more recent edition of that. Go ahead.
Sure. I just want to make the observation that I think that it is so rad and awesome, going back to the point about her having a love interest, that she's not like considered, like a quote unquote sexy character. Like, she has so much depth. Like, she's smart. She's competent. She's smarter than the cops. And then she's like, getting some D as well. Like, it's fucking amazing. I think that like the agency she has is incredible.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
That's something I was thinking about too when I was like, because I just have been watching a lot of the episodes for entertainment and not really thinking in like a critical gender lens through them. But when I was watching this back and knew I'd come on here to talk about it, I was like, it's actually pretty cool that she's a character that isn't like, as this protagonist woman character, but it's not like, oh, she's just dumb and keeps messing up or getting in her own way. And it isn't about this love. It isn't about romance. It's just about her being passionate about writing and being passionate about justice, really. Yep. And finding justice for the people around her when she's like, oh, I know that couldn't so and so couldn't have done that. Preston couldn't have done that. Like, and finds justice for the wrongdoings that she's seeing, and it's really empowering to see a character like that, especially I feel like at this time in this time period, and as an older woman too. Like, you know, she's not
that's
seen
what I'm saying.
as like,
I think it's so rad.
Yeah, there's a lot of scenes I can think of in the past of her like biking around Cabot Cove, and she's very like just exercises, and it's never like nothing is really ever holding her back in terms of any of her personal identities or anything like that. And I think, you know, other people might be like the police will be like, oh, what are you on about, lady, you know, and that type of stuff.
Right.
But there's nothing in the
but she's smarter than them, so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. She's the smart one, and we know that we as the audience are
And
aware
so
of that.
often like, and that's why I wish there was an epilogue in this one, because so often it's like, well, guess you were right. You know, like the police are always like, oh yeah, okay, you were right.
Oh,
then
yeah.
there was something wrong, you know,
Well.
yada yada yada. So
Right.
it's always nice to see that payout.
And importantly, she does the absolute correct thing and tells a cop to get a fucking subpoena if he wants into the
Yep.
contents of that conversation.
Yep.
I know, I loved that moment. That it's not always like so, I guess, like anti-cop some of the episodes.
Well,
Like sometimes she's like, I'll just work with you guys whatever you want. But when she was like, that's private, I was like, hell yeah, Jessica.
you
like
tell them.
You tell them.
You tell them.
Real depth to that character.
Good show.
Good show. Turns out.
It's a good show. Turns out, who would have thought? Who would have ever known?
Rewinding just a little bit, I also, yeah, as you mentioned, I do appreciate what information the audience gets privy to. That it's not entirely from her perspective either. That there's maybe 10 or so minutes before she shows up. You know, it's a lot about
That's
the
in
executives
a lot
and
of the
whatnot.
episodes too. Like in a lot of the episodes, sometimes it'll come on and we go, "What the hell have we been watching?" Because it'll be like 10 minutes
Right.
of just these random characters. I'm like, "What show even is this?"
What-
And then Jessica
That's-
shows up.
So that's how Columbo is too. Like
Yeah.
if you think about it, they're similar in that way. Like I remember the first episode of Columbo I ever watched, which was the first one. My fiance Hector was watching it, and I was like, "What is this?" And they were like, "You'll see." And it took like 30 minutes before he figured out like that it was Columbo. So yeah, crazy stuff.
And I think that allows it to set up a good amount of information before like the murder or anything even happens.
Yeah, definitely.
And Ben, you have more thoughts on that?
Oh, I think it's interesting that it's not just her viewpoint show. That again we get to see,
Yeah.
like the executive. I'm blanking on his name, but the executive who attempts to attack her because he left the blackmail envelope. Well, I guess he succeeds in attacking her, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that we get to see his face as he departs from the room, or that we know Preston Giles didn't do it because we're with him the entire time when the scream happens.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I think it's interesting what information we're privy to that acts as more mystery or thriller elements for the main character, but we obviously kind of already know the answer. And when I say theatrical, that also very much reminds me of like Hitchcock storytelling. Like it feels very much like a throwback to like kind of like 60s Dial M for Murder kind of writing or whatever.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
can
I dig it.
Where we can like see the killer like slink out of the room on like an Alfred Hitchcock Presents kind of thing.
Sure.
You know, with one of those like one of those classic like gold handled like daggers or whatever.
Yeah.
The perfect thing to stab someone in the back with. I think it's interesting when there's like a mix of mystery and thriller elements because of that sort of narrative irony of what we see but the characters don't.
And this one wasn't like too much of thriller, I feel like, for me.
No.
Because there's some episodes where it's like she's trapped in a cabin and there's like, and it's like Agatha Christie level, like, oh, people are dying one by one and you don't know who the killer is. And that's kind of how it was in the pilot that he was in. They were like trapped up at some house or something for some Halloween party or something like that. And it was like people were dying off or, you know, whatever. And they're trying to figure out who done it, this type of thing. And makes for such an interesting story when there's those, you know, thriller elements to it.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, for sure. Good show. Good stuff. Thank you for suggesting this one, Jay, because I do not think I would have ever gotten around to watching this on my own. And I'm glad I did, because I'm fired up about it now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know. I'm glad to, too, because it was like, it's not really exactly what you guys were trying to do with crime and like criminals and stuff.
Doesn't matter.
But I was
Don't
like,
care.
it's so good. I was like, please let me come on and talk about Jessica.
You know what? Yeah, that's what I'm going to start calling it too. I'm going to watch some Jessica.
Not Murder, She Wrote. It's Jessica.
It's Jessica.
We're watching Jessica. But yeah, it's such a good show and so entertaining, so well done. And Angela Lansbury is so talented.
She's so talented.
So talented.
Yeah.
So talented.
I keep meaning to. It's on my list. It's been on my list for a while. I keep meaning to watch The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah, it's been on my list too, man. I hear you. I'm in the same boat.
I know that's like, the her movie. That's the Angela Lansbury movie.
Yeah.
In addition to Gaslight, obviously, but like her further along in her career, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, what a talent. Do we have any favorite moments from this episode?
I mean, I have to say I really did like how it ended. I really did enjoy, like, the abruptness of it. I loved it. Because I'm such a sucker for this trope, too. At the end when he's like, we got her the tape,
Yeah.
And he recorded, like, her entire confession. It's like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you got her. I was really rooting for that. That was a really cool moment.
Yeah, I really like that, too. I think for me, it is when they're having the kind of dinner or I guess it's more of a cocktail party, up at I guess, is that Ross McKay's apartment or so? And he's trying to wine and dine her a little bit, and it's just a moment where she's just like looking through one of the curtains at what I presume is a fake skyline, and just like, oh, that's the way Manhattan needs to be seen, and like shuts the curtain. I'm like, oh. Yeah, okay, sure. I bet that is the way Manhattan's meant to be seen. I don't know. She just sells the hell out of that line. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
Line I loved that on my all three of my watch throughs. I was like every time. I don't know why. It was when she's like, you can just mail another check to Cabot Cove, and he goes, or I could bring it to breakfast if you'd like. I was like, oh my God. The way he says that line and just the moves he's laying down, I was oh my God. I thought that was a great performance, and so sad that he died at the end of the episode. Not that I want, like, Jessica's story to be all about romance and all about these love interests. Sure. It was a nice little thing for her to have every once in a while. He was a book publisher. She's an author. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
It was match made in heaven, you know? So I really liked that part.
It doesn't have to.
Oh, and I liked when you go ahead.
Oh, it doesn't have to be
I have a separate thought.
It doesn't have to be the dominant part of her character if she has a love interest, but it would be nice maybe.
But it's super cool that it's there.
Yeah, it would be nice maybe if he lingered like an extra like 5 or 6 episodes or so.
And she's also like,
or you know what, honey, honey, get you another one.
There.
They're a dime a dozen, girl. Just get you another one. Doesn't even matter.
And I also loved when the cop was like, I'm allergic to you. I was like, oh my God. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing is like they're all treating her like she's like this scrappy, like that's the kind of stuff that you would say to like a young buck who's like fresh on the force or whatever, and they're saying it to this little old lady. Like, I think that's so awesome.
Well, and even in that same same scene, he was like, yeah, you're known for meddling or whatever around these parts, whatever he words it as. And I'm like, well, she just is solving mysteries, and time again, she's freaking right, and you guys don't listen to her.
That's what I'm saying. She's the smart one.
She's smarter than all of you. And then she writes it into her books.
Yep.
And it's perfect.
And it's immaculate.
The way television is meant to be.
Agreed.
The way Manhattan is meant to be seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Nicely done, Ben.
All right, folks, this has been Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. Thank you so much, Jay, for coming on the show, for introducing us to this wonderful, wonderful piece of television.
Come over to my house anytime and watch it. It's on all the time.
I would have
Jessica's on.
Jessica's on
a lot of the day.
Yeah, I also.
Let's go watch some Jessica.
Anyway, Jay, where can people find you online?
Great. Thanks for asking. I don't really know if I want to be found online.
Okay, never mind.
I did want to pitch my new... No, hold on. I'm not done. I did want to pitch my new business I'm starting. If you need video editing work done for your social media sites, your TikToks, your Instagram, your Reels, your YouTube, anything, I'm available and open to work for you doing social media management and video editing. If you look on Infinity Breaks TikTok. I've edited a lot of the TikToks on there. And if you look at the graphics on Infinity Breaks stuff, I have done a lot of the graphics on there. And if you need those services, please reach out to me at my email, which is gagnon.mp4@gmail.com. So it's gagnon.mp4, like a video file, at gmail.com. Please reach out to me. I'm looking for an open to work right now, and I will give a special discount if you mention Syndicated with Lesley and Ben. I will give 20% off.
That's what I'm talking
to
about.
friends of the show.
It's an understatement to say that Jay turns out phenomenal work.
Oh, Jay's work is the best. The absolute best.
Thank you.
Lesley, where can people find you?
Oh, you can find me on Blue Sky at Vanetti. That's pretty much where I'm hanging out these days, saying cool things and doing cool stuff. So come hang out with me. It'll be a good time.
Hell yeah. Folks, you can find me on Blue Sky as well, Sufficient Owls over there. Additionally, you can find me at allmylinks.com /Ben C. Hamlin, which links to everything that I work on over at infinitybreak.net, telling stories our own way, and of course our Twitch channel, twitch.tv /infinitybreakgaming. Logo for our show is, of course, by Tara Bossart, theme song by Mandra Sigma, and edited by the incredible Jay Gagnon. Jay, thanks you once again for bringing this show to our attention. It was an absolute delight to discuss Jessica with you.
Yeah, you definitely improved
Jessica.
my life. Thank you.
That's such a praise. Jessica. Oh my god. Well, it's a nice,
thank you so much,
cozy fall show for the viewers at home to get into. Seriously, if you want murder mystery that's just cozy, you don't have to feel
bad about it. You know, you don't have to.
And you don't have to feel bad that you haven't watched it. It's not hip or modern, and like you can watch as many episodes and whatever episodes interest you because it's all syndicated.
It's true.
Ba 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 da ba.
Wop. Well, all right.
All right, folks. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
See you later.
Bye.